Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. It is Silasjp back with a new video, and today we will discuss one problem, the number one problem every filmmaker is running into every single time. And this is finding compromises if you are traveling with your gear. So let's start. So the reason why I'm making this video now is that in 3 days I will leave the country and I will go on a 5-week long adventure. And I also want to film some stuff of this, so I need to pack my gear, and I do this before I pack the rest of my stuff. And it is really about finding the right equipment I need, because as I showed you in one of my previous videos, I have now so much gear and I can't take everything on this trip. So right now I'm figuring out what I should bring with me and what not. And I mean, a lot of people that also have camera gear, they always run into the same problems when they travel with their gear. And today I want to make this video to show you what I'm thinking when I pick my gear for a trip. And this might help you with your next travel packing, filmmaking, gear setup. And yeah, let's get started. So number one, the camera. So we start with the Sony a6300. It is smaller than I usually have it. So the reason for this is, usually I have it in a cage from SmallRig. It has a handle, it looks more like a cinema camera than like this tiny little consumer camera. I mean, I love this camera and I definitely want to take it on this trip. But for the stuff I want to do there, I need a compact, light and small setup, and the SmallRig cage is absolutely the wrong solution for it. So I took it out of the cage and there's only a combine adapter and the a6300 plus a quick release plate, which is actually a smaller one than you usually get it. So you save again space and weight with this. And this is the base. This is the base where I build everything around. And these are the Peak Design camera strap hooks, so that I can also wear it to take photos with the Peak Design camera strap and stuff like that. So this is not the only quick release plate I'm gonna take with me. I also got the Peak Design capture clip, and what this thing allows you is that you can mount it on the straps of your backpack, and then you have here this quick release plate that you can put on your camera, and then you slide it in and your camera is secured to your backpack. This is also cool. So yeah, this is the camera I will take on this trip. So you should always start from the camera. So what is my priority with the camera, what I want to shoot? And if you don't need a cage for this production, you should not bring it along with you, because then it is completely unnecessary. And that's what I thought. I want to travel light, I want to have a light setup, so I take it out of the cage, and now I'm fine with this. So that's my recommendation. Always start from the camera up and think, okay, what I can do with this camera, what I want to do with this camera on this trip, and then you figure out how you bring your camera in the setup. So let's put the camera away and move on to the lenses. So the number one lens I'm gonna take with me is the lens I'm shooting on right now, which is the Canon EFS 10 to 80mm. It is not super good in low light situations. I mean, it is not the fastest lens you have seen, but the wide angle is so cool, and you start from 10mm up to 80mm, so that's cool. And yeah, that's about this lens. You need it for wide angle stuff, like if you film yourself, this is cool. Put it on 10mm and you hold the camera like this and it actually looks like somebody's filming. Or you have a selfie stick that goes right 2 meters away from you. It is just super good, and you don't have this fisheye look, and that everything that is around you becomes really around you with all the curves and stuff like this. This is what you don't want to have for the film look. So the second lens is the Sigma 18 to 35. I think I talked a bit about this lens. I got it 3 months ago and I am super happy with this. This lens is so insane. It is super fast with an aperture of 1.8, and yeah, it's cool for low light, filming at night and stuff like this. And yeah, it is absolutely a must-have lens, and of course I'm gonna take it with me on this adventure, even if it is a bit heavy. So this is lens number 2, and I thought, okay, let's limit yourself to 3 lenses, and lens number 3 is the Tamron 70 to 300 millimeter zoom lens. So as you can tell, it is a zoom lens, and it is a cheap zoom lens. I talked about it in a couple of videos. I never really used it a lot, but I think for the adventure I'm gonna take this on, this should be fine, and I could also play around with this. So the range of focal lengths I have now on my trip are from 10 millimeters up to 300 millimeters. And there's only the gap between 45 and 50 millimeters, but everything else is covered. This was part number 2. Let's move on to part number 3. So category number 3 are tripod and glide. I'm no longer traveling without it since I got it. It is the glide cam. So the glide cam or the stabilizer I had before, these are super good ways to make your footage super smooth. I mean, it weighs a bit and it is a bit hard to set it up, but it is absolutely worth it, and the shots are just so gorgeous that you don't want to leave this anymore at home. So glide cam, absolutely a must-have for travel filmmaking. Alright, this was the stabilizer, but for static shots or for pans and tilts and every other kind of shots I need to bring a tripod along with me. So the tripod I'm gonna take with me is this Manfrotto tripod with the Manfrotto fluid head, and yeah, it's a bit heavy, but I think it's always good to bring this along. So I will not take this thing on hikes or something like this, but I think for the base where we stay it's cool to have it. So then we come to the action camera. So the action camera I will take on my trip is the GoPro Hero 5 Black. I got it half a year ago, I got it replaced 3 weeks ago, so this is cool to have it for all the action stuff which involves water sports. That's the reason why I also bring this, the waterproof housing for the GoPro Hero 5 Black with me, with a floaty back door, yeah, to just keep this thing safe and protected. So now we come to GoPro accessories. So which accessories should I bring to the destination I go, because I think I will do all kind of stuff. So I have different accessories I will bring with me. So we start here with the chest mount. So you wear it like this, and then you have this shot from here. So this is cool. I also have a head strap, so if you're not wearing a helmet but you want to get this first person views, so use this. If you want to mount the GoPro to the car, here I take this one for this with me. So if you mount your GoPro and you want to lift it up a bit, here I have this arm for these situations. It's right there, and then I also have the floaty handle. It's always good if you swim with this and you lose it, you always see, okay, it's yellow and this must be the floaty handle with my GoPro. Of course this one's also with me, and here I have the Sandmark GoPro pole. I got my first one half a year ago after I broke 4 in a row, and then when I took it to Italy, the water made this grip going off, and I paid for this 35 euros. So I wrote them, okay, is this a common issue or is it just a Monday model I got here? And they were super cool. They were like, okay, it's our fault, and they sent me a new one for free. So this is pretty cool, and I really want to say, if you want to get a GoPro pole that works properly, that really is good, get a Sandmark pole, because it is light, it's also robust, and yeah, that's the reason why I ended up with getting this. So you can film with the GoPro plus or minus 2 hours. Here I got another battery, so I can now film with the GoPro for 4 hours. Put this to the GoPro. Here I got the Joby Gorilla Pod. It's not a big one, it is the smaller one, but I'm only using this for the GoPro, and this is cool. If you set up the GoPro at a place for a time lapse, it is absolutely fine to have this one around, because you can mount a GoPro on trees, you can mount it on rocks and pretty much any kind of surface, and it stays there safe. So that's the reason why this one comes on this trip too. So we almost have all the gear I need for this trip. The only thing I need are accessories for the main camera. So here I got for every lens I'm gonna take on this trip ND filters. These are wearable. These are like free ND filters for this camera lens. They are like sunglasses for your lenses and help you to keep the frame rate as low as possible to get this nice motion blur. So then I also will bring some batteries with me on this trip. So here I got 4 additional batteries. So if you want to keep your lenses clean, you need here this air blower and then also a lens pen, and I will just put this in the camera bag to make sure my lenses are clean all the time. I mentioned it before, this is the Peak Design camera strap. I also mentioned it in other videos, it's super good, and of course because it is, I think, the best camera strap in the world, it will definitely come on my trip. So I'm gonna put this to the gear, and here I have some SD cards. So I also have 32 gigabytes and 64 gigabytes plus another 64 gigabytes, and then I also have 32 gigabytes for the drone and 64 gigabytes for the GoPro, and so I have 256 gigabytes of SD card storage for this trip, which is pretty cool. And last but not least, I have here this. This looks like an LED panel, but on the other side this is a solar power bank. So this fits 8000 milliampere hours, and yeah, you can charge it with the sun, and at night if you want to film or if you just want to have a flashlight, you push this button and you have a nice LED panel. And I tested it when my room was dark and it's absolutely insane how bright this thing is. I completely forgot about one thing. I'm thinking a lot whether I should take it on my trip or not, and this is the drone. So should I bring my drone on this trip or not? I'm super spontaneous with this, so when I will be packing the rest of my stuff, I will just check, can I take it on this trip or not, and if I will find a space for it, because I will travel with a big backpack and a duffel bag, so I don't have a lot of space for this big backpack, but if I will find space for this, I will absolutely bring it. And yeah, my question to you is, if you are a filmmaker or a photographer, which priorities do you set, or what is your main gear you are gonna take on trips? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye.